So you want to start watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka the MCU, but it has over 30 movies and TV shows, all of them connected in some way, and you don't even know where to start. Well, in this video, I shall be your guide and help you along your journey through the MCU. And because it's your first time, we're just going to start off with the first set of movies in the MCU called Phase 1. But before you get started, here are 3 tips that will make your MCU experience even better. Number 1, use the buddy system. Make sure you watch the MCU with someone who is into Marvel Comics and the MCU. That way, if you have any questions, your buddy is right there to clear things up. Number 2, stay till the end of the credits. The MCU is famous for their end credit scenes, and 99% of the time, these scenes are very important as they let you know what's coming next, so don't skip them. Number 3, have fun. The MCU is one of the greatest cinematic phenomenons that have ever been achieved, so just allow yourself to be immersed in the amazing fantasy and enjoy the ride. Alright, let's get to it. First off, we have Iron Man starring Robert Downey Jr. This is what started it all. Iron Man was actually predicted to fail when it came out back in 2008 because barely anyone knew who Iron Man was, but it blew up. If it wasn't for the success of Iron Man, we wouldn't have the MCU, so really treasure this movie. We then have The Incredible Hulk starring Edward Norton as the next entry in the MCU. If you enjoy this movie and you want to see a sequel from it, you may want to hold your breath because at the time of this recording, we're still waiting. Next, we have Iron Man 2, and no, you did not make a mistake. Terrence Howard, who played as the character James Rhodes in the first Iron Man movie, was replaced by Don Cheadle over a pay dispute he had with Marvel Studios. Don't worry though, Don Cheadle does great. We love Don. Then we have Thor, starring Chris Hemsworth. If you're a fan of muscular men wearing tight clothing or even no shirts at all, this will hold your attention. Then we have Captain America, the First Avenger, starring Chris Evans. This movie takes place during World War II, so don't be alarmed by the sudden time change. Things will make more sense by the end of the movie. Finally, you arrive at the last movie of Phase 1, The Avengers, starring all the main actors of the previous movies except Edward Norton. Much like what happened with Terrence Howard in Iron Man 2, Edward Norton and Marvel Studios didn't see eye to eye, so Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk, is played by Mark Ruffalo. But no need for alarm, Mark Ruffalo does a great job, and in my personal opinion, even better than Norton. Bonus tip. There are things in the MCU called one-shots, and these are like 15-minute shorts that are part of the Marvel Universe, but they're not really important to the overall story, so you can totally skip them and not worry about it. Only watch the one-shots if you really want to get into the MCU, but not required. Next, we're gonna move on to Phase 2. Starting off Phase 2, we have the third and final movie of the Stark legacy, Iron Man 3. This movie had a lot of controversy around it when it was released, so when you finish watching it, come back to this video and comment below to tell me what you thought of it. Next, we have Thor, the Dark World. This has more Chris Hemsworthy goodness as he fights really angry elves. Dark elves, not Christmas elves. They're much scarier than they sound. Next up, we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. This spy thriller is believed to be one of, if not the best movie in all of the MCU. Super assassins, government corruption, this is a juicy one. Next, we venture out into space to meet a new team of heroes, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel, and Bradley Cooper. Yup, this movie has a talking tree and a talking raccoon. I promise you're gonna love both of them. Next, we have Avengers: Age of Ultron. Our heroes from Earth must once again join forces to fight against the evil AI robot Ultron, who, fun fact, is my all-time favorite supervillain, so I really hope you like this movie. And finally, Phase 2 ends with a new hero, Ant-Man, starring Paul Rudd. You're probably wondering, Alex, how come Phase 2 doesn't end with an Avengers movie? But Ant-Man is a fun superhero heist movie, so at least it ends on a light note. Awesome job, you finished Phase 2. Now let's move on to Phase 3. Starting off Phase 3, we have Captain America: Civil War. No, he does not go back in time. This movie goes straight for the gut as we see our heroes fighting against one another, and we're also introduced to a few new heroes, one of them being my all-time favorite hero. Bonus points if you can guess who it is. Next, we have Doctor Strange, starring Benedict Cumberbatch. This is the movie that starts exploring the magical side of the Marvel Universe. If you've never done acid before, this movie will give you a small taste of what that's like. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where we get another fun adventure with our lovable Guardians. But I'm going to warn you now, make sure you have a box of tissues ready because, whew. Next up, we have Spider-Man Homecoming, starring Tom Holland. This is a different live-action version of the character, so don't be confused if your only knowledge of Spider-Man comes from the old Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield movies. This is a completely new actor, but I assure you that you'll love Tom Holland. He's just so adorable. Coming up, we have Thor Ragnarok. This third entry in the Thor story takes a more comedic route under a new director, Taika Waititi. This is also believed to be the best out of all the Thor movies, but let me know what you think once you watch it. Up next, we have Black Panther, starring the late, great Chadwick Boseman. This is a very important movie within the MCU due to its impact on black people all over the world, and I hope you enjoy this movie as much as I do. Real quick, if you're getting value out of this video, let me know by clicking on the like button down below. It lets me know that you want me to make even more videos like this one. You have arrived. This is where the story told in the past couple of phases all come to a head. Avengers Infinity War. In this, you'll officially meet one of the most iconic movie villains of all time, Thanos, who's played incredibly by Josh Brolin. When you watch this, brace yourself emotionally. This movie can cause quite a stir. After that, you're going back to the happy-go-lucky sequel, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Here, Ant-Man has a new partner called the Wasp, played by Evangeline Lilly, and they're gonna kick some super-powered butt. And make sure you especially stay for these end credit scenes for a really fun surprise. Then we're introduced to a brand new hero, Captain Marvel, starring Brie Larson. This movie, like the first Captain America movie, takes place in a different time period, the 90s to be exact. So if you're a 90s kid or you just enjoy the 90s, this movie will put a smile on your face. Here we go! Avengers Endgame, the grand finale of Phase 3, starring everybody. If they were in the previous movies, they're in this movie. Avengers Endgame is 3 hours long, so make sure you clear up your schedule, put on some comfy clothes, grab some snacks, and witness superhero artistry. So did you notice that I did air quotes for the word finale when talking about Avengers Endgame? Well, that's because it's not technically the final movie of Phase 3. That belongs to Spider-Man Far From Home. This serves as an epilogue to Avengers Endgame, but yes, I too am annoyed that an Avengers movie is not the final movie of a phase. Still, have a great time watching Spider-Man go on a field trip to Europe. I'm so proud of you, you were able to watch Phase 3. Now get ready for Phase 4. Remember the 3 tips. Use the buddy system, stay for the end credits, and have fun. Use these tips to guide you through this next phase, as there are now TV shows to watch as well as movies. But if you have Disney Plus, you can watch all of these easily. Now let's get into it. First off, we have the series WandaVision, starring Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. This follows the heroes Scarlet Witch and the Vision as they appear to be trapped in sitcom television. Very trippy. Next, we have the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier, starring Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. The sidekicks of Captain America get their chance to shine, and shine they do. The blend of buddy cop and superhero genres becomes this delicious entertainment smoothie. Oh, and have tissues ready. Then we have the series Loki, starring Tom Hiddleston. Hiddleston's popularity as the character Loki has grown too large for the MCU to ignore. Now he has his own series where Loki has to travel through different timelines. This series is very important to watch as it sets up the next big villain of the MCU. Then we have our first movie of Phase 4, Black Widow, starring Scarlett Johansson. Yep, I also think this movie came out too late, but better late than never. Black Widow takes place between the events of Civil War and Infinity War, so don't panic thinking that you made a mistake. You're all good. Next, we have the series What If? This is the first animated anything in the MCU, and it's a series where each episode is a different what-if scenario, like, what if the heroes were zombies? Now, this isn't totally mandatory, like you can skip it and still be fine, but it does serve as a good guide of how vast the Marvel multiverse is. Next, we get to meet a new hero in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, starring Simu Liu. This switches things up a bit by combining superheroes with kung fu action, and honestly, that's a combination we need more of. How about even more new heroes? You get just that with Eternals, starring Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie, and many, many more. Eternals caused a lot of division within the MCU fanbase, and I'm curious on where you stand. Let me know in the comments what you think of it once you watch it. Next, we have the series about a superhero that everyone loves to make fun of, Hawkeye. starring Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. If you have any aversions about watching a show about Hawkeye, please give it a chance. When he's not standing next to Thor, he's a lot cooler. Next up, we have the third MCU Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Now, this movie is a doozy because it includes characters and storylines from the old Spider-Man movies. I'm talking Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies. If you want to have the full emotional experience of this movie, I highly recommend you watch this video to guide you through the OG Spider-Man movies. That way you'll better understand what's going on in No Way Home. If not, you can still watch this movie and have a basic grasp of the story. It still connects with everything else in the MCU, you'll just be missing some nostalgia points. Next up, we meet a new hero in the form of Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac. Here we have a man who's bestowed the powers of an ancient Egyptian god and uses those powers to beat the holy heck out of monsters. Oh yeah. We then head into the movie Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. With horror icon Sam Raimi as the director, you might notice a few horror themes present throughout the movie. Not enough to make it an official horror movie, but you might cover your eyes at a scene or two. Then we're introduced to a new hero in their own series, Miss Marvel, starring Iman Vellani. In this, we follow superhero fan Kamala Khan as she finds a family heirloom that gives her powers. They change up her powers and origins a bit from what they are in the comics, but it's not that big a deal in this series. Up next, we have the fourth Thor movie, Love and Thunder. This movie is a straight up comedy, so make sure you put on your silly cap before watching it. Next, we have the short series I Am Groot, which just consists of Groot being adorable. This is a part of the MCU, but it's not mandatory to watch if you want to understand the overall story. You can go ahead and skip this if you want to save time. We then have the final series of Phase 4 in She-Hulk, starring Tatiana Maslany. In this, we follow the cousin of Bruce Banner, Jennifer Walters, as she too becomes a Hulk. Now, She-Hulk has a lot of fourth wall breaks, so prepare yourself for a Hulk-sized meta experience. The MCU then gives us the Halloween special Werewolf by Night, starring Gael Garcia Bernal. This is by far the most violent MCU project to date, with a hefty amount of blood and killing. Like, it's all in black and white, but it still catches you off guard. We then have the final movie of Phase 4, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, starring Letitia Wright. This movie serves as a powerful tribute to Chadwick Boseman as the mantle of Black Panther is passed on. This is a nearly 3-hour movie, so clear up your schedule and have some tissues ready for the tears that will be shed. We finish off Phase 4 with the incredibly epic and awe-inspiring Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I know, having no Avenger movie at the end of a phase is weird, but this special is an enjoyable watch during the Christmas season. Recap how to watch the MCU by clicking on the playlist right here, and be ready to learn about how to watch Phase 5 of the MCU once it's all released by subscribing to my channel. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a bit.